If you just kind of sort of follow all these 4 tips on a consistent basis and stick with it, I promise you're going to see a six-pack. Hey, Mark McKillier here with Live Anabolic, and let's talk about how to get a six-pack for all of us guys out there that are over 50. So I have 4 tips for you today, and I want you to stick around because I intentionally put the most important tip last. So you would have to watch the entire video. But guys, a six-pack abs, it's kind of the holy grail of fitness, right? I mean, it'd be great to have big arms or big chest or big legs, all that kind of stuff. But if you got a big kind of soft, pudgy belly, then it really doesn't matter what the rest of you looks like. So everybody wants to get a six-pack. If you have a six-pack, almost everything else about you is going to look good, all right? So why is it so hard to get a six-pack as we get older? I mean, that's the truth. It just gets harder and harder and harder, at least for me. And I know probably for all you guys watching too. So there's several reasons for that. And it's, first of all, we're just more sedentary as we get older. Most of us are, we have jobs where we're sitting in front of a computer or behind a desk or something like that. And man, you're just not burning calories. You're not running around. The other thing that I think is really important that we really need to focus on is we just have less muscle mass, okay? Most guys do as they get older. And that is because you just don't work out, okay? You might have gone 20, 30 years or longer since you actually hit the gym or lifted weights or did whatever, and your muscles atrophy. And the less muscle mass you have, the fewer calories you're gonna burn when you actually are up and about and running around and not being sedentary like we unfortunately are most of the time. And then of course the other reasons are, as we get older, our hormone systems don't work as well. We produce less testosterone, and most guys think testosterone is all about building muscle. And it is, but it also plays a real important role in your body's body fat percentage. So for some reason, if you have low T levels, your body just does not metabolize fat very well. It doesn't use fat as a primary source of energy. Instead, it uses carbohydrates. And the higher your T levels are, the more efficient your body is at using fat stores as a source of energy. It's kind of unfair. And that's how all of us are as we age. I mean, every single guy's testosterone level slowly but surely declines as we age, typically about 1% to 2% per year. And it's not hard to do the math. So, your T levels start declining. Let's just say at 30. It's slightly different for everybody. Just call it 30 because it's easy to do the math. I'm 60. It's been 30 years. So at a minimum, my T levels, would be 30% lower than they were when I was, 30 years old. And potentially much more lower than that. So, there's just a ton of reasons why we don't burn as much fat and we start losing muscle mass as we get older. So these 4 little tricks I'm going to talk to you today about are going to help reverse that and help you get a six-pack no matter how old you are. Okay, so the first tip, guys, has to do with cardio. So for decades and decades, everybody thought that the best way to lose fat was to go out and just run and run and run and run. I mean, long distance, 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, and to an extent that does burn calories. But the problem is that long, steady state cardio, that would be aerobic cardio, it tends to increase your cortisol levels if you do a lot of it. And I'm going to get to that in a minute because cortisol is going to pop up in 2 of these tips today. So if you do too much long distance work like that, it puts stressors on your body. And that stress creates cortisol. Cortisol actually lowers your testosterone production. Plus, cortisol can make you get the munchies at night and, start craving food and all kinds of things like that. So instead of doing long, boring, steady state cardio, which most guys really don't like to do, and especially as we get older, most of us, even if you guys were big runners when you were younger and really enjoyed it, a lot of those guys, their knees are bugging them now, and they just literally can't run anymore. They can't go out and jog. And so they need another type of cardio, and that is what I want you guys to focus on. Try to incorporate HIIT cardio. And that's HIIT, cardio. And that stands for high intensity interval training. Okay. And basically it's a killer. It's like a sprinter's mentality, guys. So you go really, really hard for short bursts, 20 seconds, say, and then you rest for about 45 seconds or a minute, and then you do it again. All right. So you're going really, really hard. And the cool thing about HIIT cardio is, first of all, it doesn't take very long. For you guys that used to love to run, I mean, you want to go out and run 5-6 miles, man, you're talking an hour or longer, including the warm up and all that kind of stuff. HIIT cardio, you knock out a badass HIIT workout in, 10 or 15 minutes, right? And another benefit of HIIT cardio is it creates something called the EPOC effect. And EPOC stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. I always have to think about that. And basically what it means is your body is just in a heightened state of metabolic burning. So you're burning a lot of calories while you're doing your HIIT workout, right? But remember, I just said it's only, 10, 15 minutes long. So the thing about HIIT is once you stop, you catch your breath, you go back to, whatever you're doing. I don't care whether you're watching TV or working on the computer, your metabolism stays at a slightly elevated rate for several hours, okay? And because of that, your body will continue to burn an elevated amount of calories vis-a-vis what it would be burning if you had done the old-fashioned steady-state cardio. Because, when you're just doing slow, steady-state cardio, aerobic cardio, as soon as you stop, okay, within just a couple of minutes, your heart rate lowers back to resting levels and your metabolism goes back to its natural resting rate, which means you're not burning that many calories, all right? So high-intensity interval training creates this after-burn effect. After it's over, you're still burning a lot more calories, and that is a great tip, guys. All right, so tip number 2, guys, is just try a supplement, all right? Supplements don't work for everybody. I just want to say that right off the bat. So you don't know if it's going to work for you, though, unless you try it. And I personally think it has to do with 2 main factors: genetics and your nutrition. All right. So some guys' genetics just really lend themselves to being very responsive to supplements, and some guys' genetics just don't. Same thing goes with nutrition. Some guys have got really, really great nutrition already, and supplements are just that. They're a supplement to what your nutrition is. They're not a primary. And so if you're already eating really, really healthy, then your body may not respond much because you're probably already getting all the nutrients, all right? But for the guys, and that's most of us, that are not eating fantastic and getting everything in their natural whole foods on a daily basis, a supplement can really help out. So this little guy right here, Anabolic Shred, it's a fat burner, okay? And it's super easy. You literally just take one pill about 10 minutes before you eat. And the neat thing about it is you don't have to take it before every meal. Just take it before the meals where you're going to have moderate to high amounts of carbohydrates. All right, so that's the key, guys. If you're going to go on a high carb meal or even a kind of a medium to high carb meal, just take one pill a few minutes before, and it will really help you out. And guys, click on the link below because this has got all kinds of ingredients that I can't keep track of. But our website does a great job of explaining what's in it, why, and then scroll down below all the write-ups about, what's in the product and read the reviews. I mean, I think we have over 80 reviews on this product, and they're just, just incredibly happy guys, all over the world who've been using this stuff. So guys, it's a no-brainer. Nobody else in the fitness industry has a guarantee like us also. It's basically, you have no risk, because if it doesn't work for you, just let us know. All you got to do is send us an email and we'll refund you. Everybody else in the nutrition business will force you to mail the bottle back, okay? And that's a big pain in the ass, right? And it's not free. So most guys will never get around to mailing the bottle back, and so they'll never get refunded, but we don't even require that. So guys, just try it. It's too easy not to try. And you might be, in the majority of guys that see great results from this. If you're in the small minority that don't, no biggie. You haven't lost anything. Just let us know. Okay, number 3, guys. this is easier said than done, and that is you need to kind of, reduce your stress levels. And I'm not talking about just kind of momentary stress or short-term stress. It's kind of the long-term chronic stress that can really screw things up. And it's because it affects your hormone system. And I think, when you're young, just generally speaking, we're just kind of more carefree. All right. When you were in your 20s and 30s, I mean, how stressed out were you really? It seems like that happens more as we age, right? So reducing stress is important because when you're stressed out, your body produces cortisol. And cortisol has several negative effects. One is it actually lowers your testosterone level. And I already talked about that earlier. But cortisol levels can also make you kind of get the munchies, especially late at night. So, you'll end up, snacking for no reason. Even though you've had plenty of good, healthy food throughout the day, 8, 9, 10 o'clock rolls around and you get the munchies because you're just kind of stressed out all the time. And then, of course, high cortisol levels can also negatively affect your sleep. And that's a self-reinforcing downward spiral, because when you get less sleep, that increases your cortisol levels, and higher cortisol levels makes it harder to sleep. And so, guess what happens? It gets worse and worse and worse. So I know it's easier said than done, but whatever it is in your life, and everybody's going to be radically different. I get it. Do your best, whatever it is, do a little meditation, do some prayers or whatever. Try to reduce that stress. And I promise, over the long term, that will help with the six-pack. All right, remember I said the most important one is the last one, number 4. And there is a reason why I'm shooting this video in my kitchen, all right? Abs are made right here in the kitchen, all right? Nutrition is the most important thing as far as getting a six-pack, especially as we get older, all right? When you're younger, everything is working so much better. You just have a much higher metabolism. You can get away with eating kind of marginally and still look really good. As we get older, that is not the case. So I see tons of guys on our Facebook group, all right? So I know you're watching this on YouTube right now, but we have a phenomenal Facebook group with thousands and thousands of guys that you should join. It's free. But lots of guys in the group will post pictures of themselves, and they're all really excited, their progress pictures, how much weight they've lost, and they've lost all these inches, and they're having to buy all these, new clothes, and it's just fantastic success stories. And a lot of times that happens not when they initially start their workout programs, it's when they start taking their nutrition seriously. So all of our workout programs that Gary and I put together come with free nutrition guidelines, all right? And so when the guys finally get serious and start actually following those nutrition guidelines or recommendations, the fat just starts melting away. And that's when, slowly but surely, those abs start to pop, all right? So it doesn't matter how many crunches you do, you can build some great muscular abs, but if you're hiding it under 30 pounds of fat, it just is never gonna show. So guys, abs are made in the kitchen, and it's probably the hardest of the 4 tips I'm giving you to follow, because when it comes to working out, exercising, gosh, you can focus and push yourself hard for 30, 45 minutes, to knock out one of these workouts, and then it's over for the day. Then you can get on with your life. You don't have to worry about the workout anymore. But the nutrition, that's something you got to pay attention to, every single waking hour. And that's the hard part. All right, that's why there's so many people fail in this quest, this holy grail quest of getting abs. And that's because they're just they don't have enough discipline to stay out of that refrigerator or to avoid certain foods. And for some of you guys, you don't know what to avoid. You may not know what you're eating is bad for you. So right here in our YouTube channel, at the top of our page, kind of on the right-hand side over there, there's a little magnifying glass. Click on it and just type in nutrition. And dozens of videos are going to pop up on this YouTube channel that Gary and I have shot, where we talk about nutrition. And a lot of those are what foods you should eat, what foods you should avoid, and then some of our favorite. I've got at least 2 or 3 videos where I take you to the grocery store and I show you exactly what I buy and how easy it is. And I'm, incredibly lazy when it comes to food and cooking. So we got tons of fantastic free information right here on this YouTube channel. You guys need to use that, and you need to know how to use that search feature that I just told you about. So guys, 4 tips. I promise, even if you're not perfect, if you just kind of sort of follow all these 4 tips on a consistent basis and stick with it, I promise you're going to see a six-pack. It might take a few months, but you're going to be really happy with the results.